Tonight we have a very special guest. A lot of you know his name. His name is Rob Fury. Now, Rob has been very well known over the past year. He's up for Pro Wrestling Illustrated's Inspirational Wrestler of the Year this year. And the reason for that, as many of you know from the video on YouTube, is that he was trying to catch a bus and was hit by not one, but two vehicles. And we do join this interview in progress with Rob speaking about how he broke into the wrestling business. Thank you for joining us.
I used to coach gymnastics also, played a bunch of sports. I know wrestling. I used to do, MMA training. I'm like, hey, let me go for it. And then finally I was going for it. But hopefully by the age of, I'm 26 now, by the age of 30, hopefully I should be an NYPD officer and a professional wrestler at the same time.
Real good. So what was your first involvement in professional wrestling?
What happened?
What was your first involvement in professional wrestling? How did you first get involved?
First getting involved was, like, what really got me involved in professional wrestling. I don't even remember how old I was, and I went to a UCW show, Ultimate Championship Wrestling, that's in the ICW, which is Impact Championship Wrestling, run by Jack Sabbath. And I just came in there, and it was just, I didn't even know anything about indie wrestling. And my friends were like, okay, there's this thing, there's wrestling here. I'm like, the WWE's here at the Elks Lodge? They're like, I'm with WWF back then. They're like, no, it's called indie wrestling, independent wrestling. I had no idea. And I went out there, and I was like, wow, I'm a fan. And I'm like, holy shit. And I just asked, I'm like, hey, I'll do whatever. I'll put up the chairs. I'll do whatever. At that point, I didn't even care for, becoming a wrestler. I just wanted to be a part. Just say, hey, I was a part of this show. And, Jack Sabbath still some amazing shows for ICW out in Queens. Like, they are a force to be reckoned with out in New York. So just to be part of that and, to still be a part of that company, I'm actually making my return, back to ICW in January, which is going to be great. So that was like my first thing, just putting up chairs, helping sweep up after the shows in the Elks Lodge. So, yeah, that was my first involvement.
I'm glad you mentioned Jack Sabbath. There's a lot of stories out there about some of his shows and how, a lot of wrestlers say that they get stiffed by Jack and he'll advertise and then cancel the shows. And, what's your take on that? Do you have any response to that?
To me, I've known Jack for a multitude of years, and Jack has never done me wrong. People have stories about people. People always get to hate on other people for no apparent reason sometimes, just because, oh, I don't like your hair, or you're doing more business than me, or you have a bigger name than me. I feel that, good for Jack. If people are hating on him, that means more people are paying attention to him. That's why most of the time I'm a heel. I like the attention, because just like I believe it was Eric Bischoff that said it. Any publicity is good publicity. I don't care if you hate me, if you love me, you're still thinking about me. And especially if you hate me, then you're gonna go out of your way to make sure that everybody else knows that you hate me. And then all those people that you show that you hate me are gonna just find out who the hell I am. But personally, I think Jack's a great guy. He's always done right by me. Like, if it wasn't for Jack Sabbath, like when I actually came back into wrestling on a steady basis in the last 2 years, like I would have just been just a regular indie guy. But because of him, he put me against Dan Moff in a really great angle, and I actually got to work with the likes of Prince Nana of the embassy out in ROH, just meeting guys like that, being, picking brains of greats like Christopher Daniels, the Motor City Machine Guns, Jerry Lynn, and guys like that, Sanjay Dutt. But because of him, I got to learn so much. So I can never speak ill of Jack Sabbath. I think he's a great person. If those stories were true, then I guess, but it's a case-by-case basis. But in my opinion, I think Jack Sabbath's a great guy, and I haven't met any promoter in New York that is just so focused on just wrestling. Everybody has this big head that, oh, they want to be like they're Vince McMahon. Jack doesn't care. He doesn't care for that. He just cares about entertaining people, and so that's my take on Jack Sabbath.
Now, who was your first match with, and what do you remember of it?
Shit, dude, I don't remember my first match, man. That was so long ago. I don't remember my first ever match, but I can tell you one of my favorite matches because I keep putting it on YouTube and putting it on Facebook all the time. It was against Sebastian Cruz, which is now the BW, which is Body Slam Wrestling Organization World Heavyweight Champion. And back then he was known as Chrono Chris. And if you guys know, if you follow his Twitter, he was actually Bobby Howard, the skinny little Puerto Rican dude with the mohawk that wrestled Mark Henry out on SmackDown in the squash match, which, shit, Zack Ryder brought him out. So, come on. That was a big thing. And first time I met him out in Jersey, we had it was a show at LWO, which is Liberty Wrestling Organization, which is now defunct. And we just met outside. We just talking. I was just like, hey, what's going on? Then we go in the locker room, and the booker at the time was like, oh yeah, by the way, you guys are working each other. I'm like, okay. And you guys are match number one. I'm like, okay. And then we just ended up. It was supposed to be like a 6 to 8 minute match. Ended up being a 14 to 15 minute match because the other workers that were supposed to be after us didn't even end up showing up in time, and they ended up showing up late. But we had a great match. Everybody loved it, and I recalled everything in the ring. It was a great match. I loved it. So that is my favorite match of all time. Me versus Sebastian Cruz.
We were talking earlier briefly about the car accident that, or I guess when you were hit by the vehicles, and they threatened not only your career but also your life. Did you want to go into any more detail about that incident and what you've been through since then?
Shit. Well, ever since the accident, unfortunately, like I still suffer from insomnia. Like I can't sleep. Like if I go to bed at 10 o'clock, I won't go to sleep until like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and that'll just be me, lights off, like nothing around me. And sometimes I actually have to listen to like podcasts. Like I'm a big comic book guy, if you guys could tell from my Batman tattoo on my chest. I'm a big comic book guy. So it's either I'm listening to like a comic book podcast, or I'm listening to a wrestling podcast or something like that, and I have to hear something to try to soothe me down. And, it's just like, that's like the only real bad, oh, I'm sorry. And on top of that, I wake up every morning in drastic pain. It's unbearable sometimes that when I wake up and I put my left leg down and I'm like, holy crap. And I have to like walk around the house for about 3 to 5 minutes just to warm up my leg to get the circulation going through my leg. And it's just, sometimes it's unbearable. Sometimes it just sucks, but I can't do anything about it. I just got to have that mentality like, it happened. And just move on with it. That's all I can do because shit, if I was going to sit down, bitch and moan and groan about how much pain I'm in, fuck, I wouldn't be anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you were saying earlier that most of the time you prefer to work heel. I got to imagine with what you've been through and how smart indie fans are, it's kind of difficult for you to get over the heel sometimes because, I would imagine people's natural inclination is to support you.
Well, yeah, yeah, because I'm actually, the only place I actually play, I'm a heel still is in BWO, which is Body Slam Wrestling Organization, which I actually have a match November 19th. That's at the American Legion out in Elmwood Park, New Jersey. That's the only place I actually play heel. But that's because, come on now, I'm an ass. I'm naturally an ass. I'm not gonna lie. Well, I'm sorry. Let me not be jock, Mr. Anderson. I'm naturally a dick. I just do what I want when I want, and that's how I am. I'm naturally like that. But also on the other hand, I'm naturally a sweet, honest person. I'll go out of my way for my friends and my fans and my family, and especially now because I got nominated for this PWI award. Now I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, holy crap, how the hell am I gonna stay heel now? This retarded, because now everybody's backing me up. Everybody, they're doing the hashtag Vote Rob Fury everywhere, and they're voting for me, and I'm just like, holy crap, how am I gonna stay heel? And I'm like, fuck, I gotta start playing face. I have to, because I gotta get everybody on my side, because everybody's on my side anyway, and it's just like, people are just like, how do you expect to go after through what you've been through, and then push your link, push through everything that you've gone through, and then now you're back in the ring. How do you expect people to like look at you as a bad guy? You could be like the biggest jack off in the world, but people are gonna still remember who you really are, and they're gonna like it. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I guess I'm gonna just transition to totally being a face within the biz in a few months ago. I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it'll happen. We'll see.
Now we have a question from Sign Guy. Runs another wrestling podcast. He wanted to know what your thoughts are on the state of New Jersey.
Fucking New Jersey, man. I'm sorry for the cursing. I hate New Jersey with a passion, man. There are three things I hate the most in life, in this order. Ghetto people. Number 3, I hate ghetto people. 2, Spider-Man. Screw him. Screw Spider-Man. The creator's everything. Fuck Spider-Man. And number 1 of all time, New Jersey. It's a piece of shit state. I can't stand New Jersey. I wrestle in Jersey because it has great talent, but I can't stand people in Jersey. You got out of shape, overweight, slob, knob, like disgusting people, like incest inbred hicks on one side, or you got those shoe said, oh, let me stab myself with a needle, and oh, let me go date some 4'11" like Oompa Loompa with a freaking bright orange tan girlfriend on the other side. It's just that state is horrible. People can't drive there. It smells like rotten shit. The only thing that came out of Jersey two things that came out of Jersey that was good was Springfield and Bon Jovi, and that was it. I'm sorry, and Blimpies. I'm a Blimpies guy. Screw subways. Blimpies is the shit. That's all I gotta say about that. I'm just saying.
My New Jersey experience is Newark and a bus ride from Newark to Secaucus, and that's it. I didn't need any more.
And Newark is ghetto too. Newark is ghetto. I'm surprised you didn't get shot. I'm surprised you did not get shot. I pray for you next time.
Oh, it's not happening again, my friend.
Definitely.
Now, outside of the match you spoke about earlier, who else do you feel you've had some of your best matches against?
In my tryout match for UWF, I had a really, really good match with, what's his name? Oh, my God, Mike Donovan he wrestles out in Jersey for ACE, Championship Wrestling, which is Mike Morgan's organization. That's a great company also. And I had a really good tryout match with that guy. And he's just a solid worker, man. I love working with that guy. So I could probably say he is someone. I tend not to like a lot of the workers that I work with because they tend not to like really go fast with it, because because of my trainers, because of like I said, Brian Excel, Joel Maximo Red, and like I try to do Japanese with a little mix of like Mexican, and then incorporating to regular American type basis. And a lot of people are just like confused because they're just like regular. They're used to wrestling like one style. That's it, and they don't want to like learn new styles. They're just content, and that's another thing that I hate. So it's like I don't really have really good matches. I have okay matches. They'll be like, oh, how did you think the match went? I'm like, yeah, I guess. Yeah, it was good. It was good. I'm not gonna lie to them in front of their face and say the shits, which I have done to 1 or 2 people, but it's just like. Yeah, I don't have that many, oh, yeah, I love that match moments, but I do have a lot of, oh, yeah, that was a pretty good match. That was it. But I could definitely say it had to be Mike Donovan and Sebastian Cruz. Those are my 2 favorite matches.
Now, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this question, but if you could wrestle one person, past or present, who you never faced, who would it be and why?
Wrestle one person, past or present. Can I do one past and one present?
Sure, it's your interview.
Yeah, all right. I could possibly say, if I would have wrestled one person in the past, at his prime, I would probably say the Great Muta. Guys, he was just amazing. He was just doing things that other people just weren't doing. It was just great, And right now, I would probably say it would have to be a 3-way tie, or just probably put us all in a four corners like elimination. It would have to be me versus Red versus Prince Devitt versus Davey Richards, because that match would just be a clusterfuck of awesomeness. I'm sorry, #epic, because like it's just, you have such phenomenal wrestlers. You have Davey Richards, which is basically right now he's basically the best technical wrestler in the world. Then you have Prince Devitt, which is the best technical wrestler / high flyer in Japan. And then you have Red, which he's basically the homegrown, like, underdog, best, like, high flyer in the States right now. You know, that would be great. And, you know, if we had a multitude, like another match on top of that, I would have to put maybe Austin Aries and Pac into it and really have some fun with it. But past and present, those would be it. Oh, with Muda, I'll probably put Jushin Liger in there also. I would put Bret Hart, but he'll just put me in a sharpshooter. I will give up. Just no.
So these great guys you watched growing up, your Randy Savages and the Rocks, you know.
Oh, I would never ever put myself in the ring with Randy Savage. It's like literally, it's like putting Randy Savage and Barry Horowitz together. It's not happening. It's Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon would be like, no. I throw a rock at him. No. Like, never happen. I would never even fathom of trying to be at his status. Like, come on. Even when he was in the beginning, like when he was just doing the territories, his promos were just insane. Like, his promos would just beat me 1, 2, 3. Like, I would just wake up with my, like, looking at the lights, be like, what the fuck just happened? And be like, yo, Rob, his promo just knocked you out. I'm like, no. You know, like, I would never put myself in that category. But, like, guys that I could possibly work my way up to their level, or at least close to their level, I'd name those guys. You know, but Randy Savage, he's just surpassed everything, man. I would just, I'll be his Miss Elizabeth for a night and carry his freaking, like, robe down to the ring. You know, not to try to sound like a freaking mark, but come on. I think every worker in the world that knows good wrestling would give anything to have been able to just carry his robe down to the ring for him. You know, I'm being honest. I'm not trying to be a mark or anything like that. Even though I kind of hate that word mark, because everybody's a fucking mark. I don't care who you are. If you watch the sport, if you watch the biz, if you watch wrestling, you are a mark because you're a fan. That's what a mark is, a fan. Now then you go into super marks and uber marks and smart marks, whatever they think they are. Then fine. But everybody's a mark. If you like something, you're a mark for it. If you're a football fan and you like Tony Romo, unfortunately, but I'm a Cowboys fan, so unfortunately I have Tony Romo, I'm a Cowboys mark. Fine. I'm a fan of the Cowboys. Some people might be Giants marks, Jets marks. Everybody's a mark some way, some shape, some form. So it's like, I find it stupid to say that, oh yeah, you're a mark, whatever. But, hey, that's what everybody is, to a certain extent. It's just a level of markitude and marketism that differentiates yourself from the others, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Now, what does the future hold for Rob Fury?
Shit. Well, right now I'm actually in talks with some people. I'm trying to work out a deal to try to get some work in Japan. I mean, not Japan. I wish. That's my ultimate goal. Get it to Japan. Either that or ROH, or TNA. Actually, if the E calls me, then so be it. I'll take the payday. I could care less. But I'm actually in the talks right now to try to get into Puerto Rico, do some work out in Puerto Rico. I'm in the works with some promoters out west to try to get out west for my first, you know, out west tour, you know, Cali, Nevada. So I'm trying to do that, but I'm actually really trying to get into Urban Wrestling Federation. That's definitely going to be a stepping stone to launching my career, like boosting my career up. I'm sorry, and I'm really, really trying to get into ROH. But actually, I was planning on trying to go to the ROH tryouts coming out at the end of November. I was like, you know what? Let me get my weight up, you know. I think my level of cockitude, which is my cocky attitude, is not where it should be. It's more like at a 4, where it should be at an 11, because, you know, I go up to 11, just to tell you. So it's like I need to just get my level of cockitude up to 11, so, you know, I could be prepared just in case they're like, yo, Rob, you're in. Let's do this, you know. So, yeah, I'm trying to do that. And actually, believe it or not, I was actually before they bumped Vince Russo down, I was going to send Russo a promo tape and showing him my Batman tattoo and say, hey, put me against Sting playing the Joker, and I'll be Batman. And you know Russo would do it because he's so retarded. And he does it. Russo's a freaking retard. Like, if you want to take a moron and a retard, put it together to have a baby, Russo right there. Like, he just doesn't, he has great ideas, but Vince was there to like say, yo, okay, kid. All right, stop that noise, kid. Stop that noise. Hashtag KIDD. Stop that, kid. But it's like, now, if he was still in power, I think I would have had a good chance for Batman to wrestle the Joker, real life, in TNA. But it's not gonna happen. Oh, well, you never know. He's still around. But anyway, so those are my things. But my main goal within the next 2 years is to be in Japan. That's my main thing.
Hey, weirder things have happened in wrestling. Now, you're talking about trying to get out west, trying to get to Mexico, trying to get to Japan. How can a promoter get a hold of you to book you?
Well, if you want to book me, you could just simply go on my Facebook, which is facebook.com/the1 Rob Fury. So that's facebook.com/the1 Rob Fury. You can email me at robfuryprowrestling@gmail.com because I'm gangster. No, I'm not. I'm playing. But gmail.com. Or you can actually follow me on Twitter, which is at Rob Fury Brand. Because any real wrestler knows you have to brand yourself. Because if you don't have a brand, who the hell are you? You're just a regular no one, you know? So anytime you do that, when you see on my Facebook, everybody is going to see it. If you see it on my Twitter, you're going to see the hashtags, the hash marks. You're going to see hash mark vote Rob Fury, which, by the way, please, everyone needs to vote for me for Most Inspirational Wrestler 2011. Just send an email to pwiawards@yahoo.com. So it's pwiawards@yahoo.com. Just put in either the subject title or in the body. Just put hashtag vote Rob Fury. Bing bong, you're done. And that's a cue to my boy Marco for his happy birthday. He's a bing bong man. So you got to do it like that. So you can find me in 3 ways: either Twitter, Facebook, or my email. Or actually, you can follow me on YouTube at YouTube. Just type in Rob Fury and just send me a message on there. I'm always uploading stuff and whatnot. So those are the ways you can find me.
A lot of ways to get a hold of you. Now, do you have any final words for the fans who are listening of yours? Or fans of yours who are listening?
I do have words. I just wanted to say, all gimmicks aside, I want to say thank you to everyone, my friends, my fans, family, everyone that, that backed me up, that thought and had the know-it-all and wherewithal to say, hey, Rob, you got to get back in. It's not the end of the world. I definitely want to say thank you. I want to say very special thanks to Sebastian Cruz for being basically the only other wrestler to call me every day or almost every day while I was in the hospital to make sure I was all right. Definitely want to thank Tommy Vizzo of LWO Wrestling, Preacher of Phineas James, and Richie Rotten of BWO for coming to the hospital and, the only actually workers or people in the business that actually came to the hospital. And, I definitely want to say thank them. They gave me that inspiration to say, yo, don't quit. And Rich Ryan said himself, he's like, you'll be back. Don't worry about it. You'll be back. I doubted it. And I was back, and I definitely thank them. Thanks Jack Sabbath for giving me the opportunity and the platform to get my stuff back in together. I want to thank my trainers, Amazing Red, Brian Excel, Joel and Jose Maximo, for giving me the place to train to get my ass back in and everything like that. Now, the last word I got to say, now this is completely off the cuff. There's this guy named Robert Blessed, some fat, sloppy, goony-goo-goo-looking wildebeest that he goes under the name Rob Fury also. And apparently he did a little quote-unquote shoot promo on me, mocking me because apparently I put on Facebook that I had a mild heart attack because one of my heart valves was weak because of the accident and everything like that. And, you know, he was mocking that, and he was actually mocking my car accident. And he was saying, oh, yeah, he's a better Rob Fury and everything like that. This is what I have to say to him. Robert Blust and Rick Silver, those people that did that promo. I'm going to tell you straight off. I am a professional. I do not need to come at you and promos saying, you know, talking about your personal life or anything like that. I'm a professional. I was taught by professionals. And you guys always talking about, oh, yeah, you're the better Rob Fury and everything like that. But yet again, I've done more for the name than anybody can ever do for their own name. And apparently the fans know it. Apparently the other workers know it. And now PWI knows it. So apparently the world knows that I am the better and only Rob Fury that counts in wrestling. And that's all I have to say to you, Robert Blust, and to you, Rick Silver, because when you're a professional, things happen right, and things are done right. And if you're conducting yourself as a professional, then things will come out perfectly, and that's what happened. So I never had to say a single thing after those guys did that promo, and, hey, look what happened. I just got nominated for PWI Awards with the likes of John Cena, CM Punk, and all those guys. And what is that person doing? Absolutely nothing. So you could stay in your little mom and shop, you know, indie fed doing absolutely nothing, while my stock and my performance and my talent is going to climb and rise while you're still doing nothing. And you know what? I thank you for that, because you drove me into the point that I'm gonna make myself better to prove everybody wrong.
Do you want to plug that email address for PWI one last time?
Once again, everybody, for PWI, vote me Most Inspirational Wrestler 2011. The email is pwiawards@yahoo.com. So in the subject box, put hashtag whatever, vote Rob Fury, or you can put it in the body, vote Rob Fury. That's the hashtag. Everyone, if you're on Twitter, just keep that hashtag going. I want it trending all over the world. And on top of that, I actually want to say big ups to Shelton Benjamin for retweeting me asking people for votes. So I got Shelton Benjamin on my side also. And, you know, even Tommy Dreamer was like, yo, man, you're lucky to be alive, man. It's good to see you alive. So apparently I got some of the guys, some of the bigger guys in the biz backing me up too. So I hope I could get some of the fans out there to backing me up also, because hey, I might be funny, I might be smart, I might be sexy. Well, actually, I'm really sexy, but if it wasn't for you guys, I won't be nothing. If it's not for fans, nobody would be anything anywhere. So definitely, please go PWI Awards at yahoo.com, hashtag vote Rob Fury. Do it. Add me on Facebook. Vote. You know, it's just a picture of me and my gorgeous girlfriend. Yeah, Russian model. That's how I roll. Just add me. Just like search Rob Fury. Just add me. I'm always here for fans, questions, everything like that. If you're around, I'll buy you a drink. Screw it. I'm always on Bell Boulevard in Bayside, Queens. I'm either at Dempsey's or Bruce Brothers, which I'm going to be there tonight. So come through. I'm always there. Just hit me up. I'm accessible. I'm going to be the most accessible indie worker and hopefully professional wrestler when I make it big ever. So, yeah, just hit me up, guys.
All right, Rob. Well, thanks for joining us tonight and sharing your story.
Definitely. Thank you guys for having me, man. And right now I'm about to go out, have some shots with my boy Marco at Bruce Brothers because it is his birthday. And, yeah, he's smiling like hell. So, yeah, I definitely want to say thank you guys for having me, man. You guys have a great show. Thank you for having me.